oh, babe, you're so cute. I 100% worry what people think about me, but not as much anymore. I got really bullied at school, so I always worried what people thought of me, and it's made me into a people pleaser. I know that. But, you know, I'm really fortunate that I'm surrounded by some really solid, wonderful friends who I trust with my entire life. So I don't really have that with them. I do have this silly feeling occasionally. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not as good as them. But that's just like my mental health issues, I think. I would never resent the time that I spend getting dressed up.
As long as you're doing things
right, like I try to just live a life where I'm doing the right
allocate
thing.
like 2 or 3 hours to getting dressed up,
because
I love it. I put like
shouldn't have any doubt,
something
right?
on Netflix, or I put something on YouTube and just watch like something shit, so I don't have to function properly and concentrate. And like do my hair, my makeup, get dressed, dance around a little bit, maybe have a pre-drink. I fucking love
jealous
it.
I've ever been.
And I I have days where I don't wear. I have weeks where I don't wear makeup.
I was dating.
I don't shave. I don't wear makeup. I don't give a shit. But then when I do get dressed up and put makeup on, I feel like a fucking badass.
She had before,
and I like that I have both, because I don't
when you
feel like I need to be that one level all the time. I can be both. But yeah, I do love it.
She was
from Devon.
We went back to
Devon, and we were staying there, and at her parents' house, and I just remember being like, I need to look through her phone, which is awful. This was like years ago now. And I looked through her phone and I found messages between her and this girl from the football team. And she'd been cheating on me. They were basically like having an emotional and physical affair. Like I've had some film and stuff.
I was
so
so
jealous the whole
time.
time.
I love that we had that.
But kind of
like access.
Rightly so.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. I mean,
but
it's crazy how
I
your
honestly
intuition
think that.
I mean, I was always
lockdown was
in
a really
London
long
for me.
quote.
So I was
living in
days,
was
privileged, denied to
I
many.
think you need to earn
And I've friend had a partner, and she moved in with her,
who
passed away.
I think
so I was actually alone for a few months. They would give anything, and I quit my job.
It's just not
be
really
living
enough.
So my life, I was had something else potentially lined up, but obviously COVID.
In a way,
stuff in London.
I was meant to go to
this assessment day, and it was cancelled.
But then you pay to see myself more. I'll be really grateful. Actually, it was also I'm in this weird tax bracket between 30 and 40. Or 30 and 50,000, I think it is, where you just end up getting taxed so much. So I'm meant to be getting a pay rise. It's only of like $3,000 a year or something like that. Great, but the tax works out really bad to be almost the same. So I actually don't take home
ever been.
So it's really frustrating. Because on the outside,
I don't feel really body positive. Having that time away from work, I think
if I had it now, it's so different because
I'm like right now, so I kind of enjoy it more almost. But like in that moment, it almost felt like so I have struggled with at rock bottom. 500. Suddenly there was nothing to do, just because I couldn't do anything. No obligations. I had no job growing up in the early noughties when everyone was skinny. It's really affected me because I was never skinny. I never have been. So I definitely internalized it and idolized people that were skinny and thought skinny is beautiful. Skinny is happy. Skinny is, everything. And fat is everything that's bad. And that's such a deep, deep part of me that it's actually really hard to break away from. So finding any positivity in my now body, which is still not skinny. It's size 16. Again, my partner and I have talked about the care of our children, how we're going to raise them. There's always this both been raised in like you're too fat, a really good stable. Every time I eat something, I'm like environment and calories. I mean, I say stable, as in I mean we've had work out and at least a parent who has it's always raised us in a stable way. I actually do genuinely think maybe we've had a lot of pain and hardship, and he's had divorce and I've had abandonment and stuff. But we've had that stability from a parent who has like shown us so much unconditional love and shown us right from wrong. So that's just what we want to give to our children, who is any size and is struggling. Like our parents in that because they gave us. Why are you even thinking this? We turned out okay, so we want them to help us shape them. But yeah, just like a really fair approach. Teach them things about the world that they need to know, like real things. So for work, I'm an on-train service delivery manager, which is basically a line manager for train crew. So I manage all of the train managers for a train company. And in that, I have the good, the bad, and the ugly. I
I get to help people. I get to know people and get to help kind of shape them in their careers, which is really cool. But then I also have inevitably a few people that need managing more than others and have to try and kind of push them in the right direction and all that kind of jazz. And as part of my role, I also learn how to be a train guard so I can do their role as well, which is so much fun. Love working on trains, meeting passengers, doing tickets and stuff like that. It's so much fun. Our train company goes all over the UK, so I really love that I get to travel around and meet people, and I just love the buzz of walking through a train and even just checking tickets. I know it sounds like really sad, but it made me it's so nice because it's basic customer service. I just love to be able to give that, and that's why I feel like I'm a good manager in a way. About it a lot. I think we both want. I can say to anyone that I manage if they're unsure about what they're doing, both are very open to adoption because there are so many children in the world that need love, and I've worked in an adoption agency before, and it was the hardest fucking job ever. I'm adopted. My grandparents adopted me because my birth parents left me when I was a baby. So I believe in adoption so much. But also the adoption process is very, very, very hard, very vigorous. Having a good time is subjective. It's deterring to a lot of people, I think. With. When you can have your own biological children, with my partner, I'm really into it, and I having quality time. Love to do it. We're not considering children yet. We're 28, it's just and he's 30. And somewhere we want to be. We're thinking 35. And it could just be our house. Who knows? But that's the kind of age bracket. We're happy. Marriage is chill, outdated. Children, the idea of children getting married in like 20 years ago, you get married, you have children. Whereas outdated, and you don't need to. There's so many stipulations about my idea of I'm not allowing like people hanging out. When we almost want to like bring a child in the world, hanging out with my friends. It's just again connecting and working in that adoption agency. It doesn't fun or trying something exciting or celebrating something. I guess I'm just traditional and romantic. I think the thing I look forward to the most is like and I don't know an event on the weekend where it's like legally as well. That helps you. Something happens to one of you, you're legally, but also I can family, and I love myself. That makes you a family as well, because going for a walk children, myself, I can look forward to that as well. Not that you wouldn't be a family anyway, but marriage is also an amazing celebration of love, which is what I intend for my wedding to be. I love a party, and I love hosting parties. So this is kind of my idea of my wedding is going to be the biggest like party for all of my family and friends to come together, celebrate, and celebrate my love with Arj and introduce him into our family, because that's ultimately what I see a marriage as, or a wedding as. I don't believe in the kind of like religious necessity of it. I'm not saying I'm not religious. I'm not saying that I am, but I don't believe that you have to have that tie to make it real. I think it's just your absolute utter devotion to a person, and you are sharing that and promising that in front of people, because that is your tying together as becoming a family. I actually worry about the future so much, probably disproportionately. So because I was adopted by my grandparents, I always had this like realization that my parents, as they are going to die early. One of them already has. I only have my mum/grandma left. And, I worry about that all the time. People take it for granted. They have their mum and dad and they think, they don't even think about it. Why would you? Why would you think about your mum and dad dying? But I had to think about that from a really early age. So I have always had this kind of worry about the future. I have worries about things like, I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to be successful enough. I'm going to waste my time doing whatever. But I always feel like there's always time for that. There's not always time for people that are older. So that's what I worry about the most, I think.
Let me get into it. Yeah, I suppose just scrolling through like constantly Instagram, jealous basically, of people and seeing people, always especially if they're younger than me. Well, it's more to do with the fact that I'm thinking like I'm not doing enough, and then jealous of all these people that seem to be doing these things, loads of stuff, and I've not. So I feel jealous comparing when I see people, which I'm trying to do being less now. I am a costume maker, achieving a lot of things, and then thinking, damn, why am I not achieving as much of that? But yeah, that's because I'm an inherently sexual person, I think. Obviously, people who are not very sexual wouldn't matter to you as much. But for me, yeah, I think sex is important because I enjoy it. Yeah, I love for a long time putting makeup on. I disconnected with sex, doing my hair and picking an outfit. God, I was in a relationship that wasn't pick outfits like days before an event, since I'm in a relationship. I'll lay in bed the day before, going to work and pick what outfit I'm going to wear that day. I never wear the same outfit every 2 days in a row, just because I enjoy variety, put a greater weight doing things and make myself look nice, and I love doing my makeup. I feel like to other people. Putting that time and effort into myself is like self-care in a way, which a lot of people think it is like not doing that. But for me, it is, because, and this might sound sort of backwards on my point that I'm making, but I feel more confident when I feel like I look the way I want to look and feel like I can take the world on a little bit more. I think, for so many years, when I was younger, when I was like, 15, 16, I thought I was so fat. And then you look back on pictures of yourself and you're like, Jesus Christ, I was a skinny little thing. Which makes me think now, it even when I think now that maybe I'm a little bit, have a bit more weight on me than I'd like, I think about the fact that I look back on those pictures of myself at 15, 16 and think how skinny I am. And then I remind myself that I am not what my brain wants me to think I am. I don't know. I think everybody's brain tries to convince them that they are a certain level of unattractiveness that is actually not true. And I'm really trying to break that in my own mind. And yeah, I think especially dating women a lot more now has made me realise that what I find beautiful is not what I find beautiful in other people. Like people's weight and or fashion sense or the amount of time and effort they put into themselves does not affect my attractedness to them. Does not mean I'm less attracted to them. So I think I need to take a little bit of pressure off myself, basically. Yeah, my answer to this probably changed quite a lot in the last few years, because at one point I was living very comfortably off of universal credit. But since I think life has started up again and work has started up again and prices for things have gone up again, I'd say probably I'd like to be earning at least 30k to be able to be comfortable. But I would love to be earning more than that. I am a costume maker, and to get the things I want, to do what I want to do, to see people, to enjoy myself, making costumes for the ballet dancers. The minimum, I think. Totally, all the time. And I'm about to go on. I always worry that people actually think tomorrow I'm about to start a job. Making costumes for 42nd Street. I'm a chronic overthinker with anxiety. So who's been commissioned to make a lot of costumes. Always and I'm going to worry them that people don't like me or something that I've said, and I love it, is not good or right. I absolutely love it. It's what I want to do. I always worry about. Can't imagine myself doing anything else really. So I'm always trying to please people, I guess, which is not great. Does make me a bit of a people pleaser, I suppose, but I'd rather just I say yes, I do worry about what people think about me, but at the same time, in a lot of other ways, I really don't. So it's balancing those two things. I basically care that people think I'm a good person, but I don't really care what people think about me, like visually, I guess. Or I care that they think I look cool. That's something I care about, which is lame. But there you go. Maybe I want children. I'm not entirely sure yet. I feel like I'm at the age now where people just start deciding if they want children, and I'm still like, whoa, not for a good while yet, thanks. So yeah, I'm not sure yet. I like the idea of having a little me running around, but I definitely do not want to birth anything. So yeah, I like the idea of adopting a kid. I don't think I could ethically bring one into this world myself, with the climate and the population, the growing population and all of that. I don't think so, but ethically, yeah, sure, I could adopt a kid. Having a good time. I've always liked the idea of adopting a kid that has, diabetes from a country which make with other people. They may die if they have diabetes, which still happens, unfortunately, in a lot of countries. Yeah, that's something that is more that's always been apparent to me in the last year than ever before. Care of children in the future. Being around people I genuinely like and appreciate in the future is so important to me. I think it's just all about... And I do not waste my time on people that don't give me good feelings anymore. Spreading the care of kids, like having a good time is spending time with people heteronormative that make me feel good. Standards of caring for your children type thing between two people. Whilst it used to be about more outdated, getting fucked up and being silly. I love being silly groups now, of people, commune style raising kids, and I think that's kind of beautiful. People and have a nice time. With people that care of children, and I'm sure in my future, if I do have a kid, there'll be several of my friends that don't have kids where I can be like, right, mate, you just take care of my kid for a night. I suppose that's kind of babysitting, but still, I think it will be much less heteronormative and much more focused on the positive growth of the kid, or at least it should be in my mind. I want a party to celebrate love, yeah. I don't think marriage is outdated. I don't think celebrating love will ever be outdated. Maybe the religious aspect of marriage, totally outdated, yeah. Society's aspect of marriage, super outdated. No one's marrying for some people are marrying to go up in the world, but I think certainly that is quite outdated. But for me, in my mind, marriage is a celebration of love, and I don't think celebrating love that you have for other people should ever be outdated. Maybe we should have a new kind of marriage that's just about celebrating your friends. Friendship marriage. Those things are important, I think. Yes, only because I am almost certain I will encounter health issues. As a type 1 diabetic, these things are more than likely coming for me, and someone that doesn't have great control. A lot of people like to convince a lot of people that I do have great control, but the reality of the situation is I do not, and that will probably backfire on me at some point in the future, but I am enjoying life too much right now to worry too much about it right at this minute. It will concern me late in the next few years, I'm sure, but these things seem like a worry for another time, and I will get to it at some point. I'll get to worrying about being old.
This is literally the first voice I resent the time. I know that has been a massive and not just like been discussed more recently, especially. I don't know, is there a way you can play the money that women kind of spend on things like makeup and various like beauty treatments that men just don't have those expenses. I wouldn't say I necessarily resent it. I do quite enjoy like nice makeup and nice clothes and so on. Not necessarily what other people would think looks nice. Like I quite like kind of like vintagey stuff, kind of mock Victorian sometimes, and that's probably not really the trendiest thing, but like I think it looks nice, like it makes me happy. Hey, so sorry, I'm like so I wouldn't say that I resent week at work. I feel like I necessarily have to look nice all the time, which was interesting, and just a lot of like society's expectations of beauty standards. Yeah, I think it would be more of a thing for me when I was younger, and I would just spend an inordinate amount of time like obsessing about it, and I do feel like I think less so than I has taken over, and I've just kind of made personally I'm not a massive if I had all the time and money in the world when I could probably look a lot nicer or ill or something. I just kind of quite I don't want to go to the gym every day. I don't want it has caused problems for me in relationships in the past that I have that kind of stylist or whatever. So to me, like it's gonna happen. Intimacy is honestly, I don't know. I guess I do feel passionate in a work context. I just don't really, for example, high heels, I don't know why. So I think it's definitely not as impressionist for me as I think it's long enough for most people. I'm not really sure whether that's a gendered thing. But yeah, I think there's obviously it's great that people are more comfortable these days talking about sexuality and so on, but I feel like there's
sometimes an expectation that if you're not like a massively sexual person, it's because something's gone wrong. And I feel like, honestly, it's just about, you know, different forms of love languages. And also, like, I just think there should be a wider ideas about what sex is and what intimacy I am just qualified as a solicitor, as you know, which was a big thing for me, and it's been a long time coming. So it took a year's paralegaling, 2 years studying, and 2 years on the training contract to become a solicitor. And that was after like my undergraduate degree and my master's, so it was a big thing for me.
Again, I was quite a girly girl.
I do enjoy work.
I've particularly always wanted.
I enjoy
have
being,
a daughter,
I feel like, intellectually challenged by my job,
hopefully.
And I also get at the moment,
it's not even rational.
I just bit of kind of really pro bono, like charity legal work.
The idea of getting to raise a child,
feel like I'm really helping and giving back
them,
so I'm kind of getting into
through the world. I just kind of,
otherwise wouldn't be accessible.
Kind of need to like know what my child would be.
Yeah, I think.
Quite like to have a lot of children if possible.
We'll have to see like how I'll
finances and so on would allow it. I could even see myself having
I'm really enjoying my job. I don't necessarily enjoy
I promise
everything about corporate culture in London, but I think that's separate to the job.
In terms of the care of children, I think with the kind of remote working and the flexible working, that is a thing that I think is going to massively improve my life, because personally I have always wanted to work, I have always wanted a career, but at the same time I have really desperately wanted children, and I think I'd want to be a hands-on parent. And I see a lot of people at my work just handing the kids over to nannies, and that's not really something that I'd want to do. I think I'd probably want to be the primary parent,
even though
if I had a partner,
looking at on paper,
so
there's been a big difference.
Most of the kind of day-to-day hands-on raising
that difference myself in terms
children.
Of feeling like comfortable about the amount of money that I have.
I have tried to learn to budget. I wouldn't want to totally give up my career, but at the same time, I would want to change the way in which I was working once I have kids.
I think in an ideal world, you know,
I have been considering the idea of
paid off house and everything, and not really like worrying about
example, if I was single, or if I didn't get married, or I didn't
end
up with somebody. And I think, to be honest, like my desire for children has been quite consistent throughout my life, so I think at that point I would look into the possibility of
but I think it just depends, really, doesn't it?
Single parent, to be honest, by choice, by myself.
My life isn't even expensive today because of
difficult, because the care would be totally
like,
in my hands, and I probably end up having 7 children as a single parent. I am.
So I think
vaguely sensible at times, but
it's not necessarily the money you need to live on today.
I don't know. I think it's kind of a non-negotiable for me in terms of what I want for my life.
So I do save, and those future things do happen.
I think
pressure will go away.
I'm coming to appreciate the times that aren't necessarily the biggest milestone times, where, or you know, not a lot of money is spent necessarily. It's not a huge occasion, but I'm learning to kind of find the beauty in those sorts of times, whether it's just, you know, having a nice walk.
Sorry, I just recorded that, but it seemed to delete it for some reason. That was really weird.
Friends,
okay,
really
clearly
kind of low-key
vastly competent with technology,
and I think that's increasingly becoming
because it's the part of the year,
I suppose having
a
good time,
just my birthday,
and
ever since I've been about
you can be truly
15,
comfortable
so
with
ridiculous age to be freaking out about this. I've just been really worried about
laughing,
the idea of getting old and aging and so on. I always never feel like I've done enough.
I suppose if I'm having
age to
doing
justify
more
being that age, and it just
I really like traveling.
It's been nice gets to me. I have
to make the most of being out of lockdown.
Massive anxiety around the time of my birthday. I actually don't like my birthday. I never do anything.
London, going around and trying
to draw attention to my birthday.
Cultures. That's
I don't really know why this is. I guess a lot of it does
bookshops in London and all
come from sexism, I suppose, because like
so just being able to
mum, for example, kind of like started talking to me in the last few years about like, come on, you need to hurry up, you need to get married, you need to have kids,
things
and I just feel like
things that
those things
you're
aren't
able to do them
said to my brother, even though we do know now that
forget about your other worries and
limits on their fertility and so on.
To me, that's
but
the essence of having a good time.
I just suppose I
get
really
lost.
Like I used to feel like
there are lots of different ways
in my early 20s and so on. I used to feel like I had all the time in the world to, you know, go down different routes and mess some things up. Whereas now everything that I do feels serious, and I'm very aware of I'm choosing to do one thing, I'm not being able to do something else, and I really don't want to waste time so that I'm kind of looking back and wishing that I'd pulled myself together. So I would say it's not necessarily I don't want to be old, it's I don't want to be old
with regrets, and I do really feel like I'm racing against the ticking clock to kind of
my
achieve
thinking on this
everything
has
that I want
changed a
to
fair
achieve
bit,
and to grow as a person.
I always used
and
to
get
just
to
assume
the
that I
right
wanted
state
to
of
get
mind,
married, and it was just a part
to
of life,
and I feel a lot of
go
anxiety
forward and
about
live
the idea
my
of not
proper
being
adult
married.
life.
But I think over the
Yeah, I
past
suppose
year or
looking
so,
older
I've
would
started
kind
to
of
think
bother me,
about
but
it a
again,
bit
it's
more
not necessarily the
seriously,
looking older itself, it's
and
just what that
realise
implies
that
to society. And
it's
the
not
idea
something
that
I would
you're
rule
kind of
out for myself, and I think it
past your
really
prime,
does
which is
depend
ridiculous
on
if
the
you think about,
relationship,
like,
and I feel like there
how
can
long
be
most of
marriage
us are actually
that's
going to live, like to
very
80 or 90
equal
or so on.
and
But
progressive.
I do feel like
I
from a lot of the commentary
I'm
I
not
see
sure.
already,
I think there are
I
some
do feel past my prime.
parts of the concept that
Yeah.
are quite problematic, particularly when you look at how historically women have been treated within marriage. And I don't know. I look around, and honestly, I just feel like whether you're married or not can't really predict if the relationship survives. So, I mean, I don't know. It's a really difficult one for me, and I do have really conflicted
it's not
feelings
even
about
logical
it.
because
I feel
half
like
the people I worry
I
what they think
might
about
want
me,
to get
to be honest,
married, but I
don't even
probably
like
wouldn't
them.
want a
I wouldn't want
wedding.
to be
And
their
again, that's a
friend. I
massive
wouldn't want to spend
change
any time
from
around them, so why do I
how
care
I
what they
used to
think
be. I
about
was a
me?
really
Surely
girly
it
girl, and I'd been
benefits
planning
me
my
if
wedding
they
and everything,
don't
but
like
just having
me, but I
seen the
do.
reality
I
of
want everyone to
friends
like
getting
me.
married and all
I want
the
everything to
stress
kind of
between the
everyone to
families
kind of
and
think
so
I'm
on,
a
and just how
kind
much
of an
money it all
okay
costs and how much of
person.
a waste it
I
seems, and
think if
making
there's
you
somebody in
end up
particular
enjoying the
I
day
worry
anyway.
about what
I
they
think
think
that's
about
just
me, I
not
guess
something that I'd want. I wouldn't want
maybe
to
men more than women.
put that
I don't
extra
really know
pressure on
where that
myself.
comes from. I
But then
guess
at the
something
same
about
time, I
the
don't want to
idea
miss
of being
out.
like
So
harshly judged
it's
by a man.
difficult.
Like
I think.
just
I
kind of
mean,
takes
I'm
me
a
back to
romantic.
like
I like the idea of two
school when the
people
boys
saying
would
to each
rank
other,
you
"We're
or
going to be
something
together
awful,
forever."
and then it just felt like
I'm
such
religious,
a
so I
kind of
also like the idea of
primal
like
rejection.
community and
Whereas if
God
it was a
kind of
girl
seeing
kind of
you all
saying
kind
that
of
to
work
me,
on about
I would
myself
always be like,
because
okay,
I
feel like
often
I'm
I don't
just
know.
jealous
I
or
just
whatever.
I hear somebody. I think
But yeah,
marriage is a very
just
blunt.
a guy. Even
I'm
again, if it
feeling
was somebody
takes
that I
away
would have
from
never
me
dated,
rather than
like
I don't know. Like
never
I'm not
would have
necessarily
finished
saying I
with
don't want to get
like
married,
a
but
good news.
I mean this
Visceral rejection.
this past
I
year
would
is
like
really the
to
first time I've
yeah, and I
started
think
to
it's
kind of allow
definitely something
myself
I'd
the
like to
possibility
free
of
myself
thinking
from.
about what
Yeah,
my
it's
life
about
would
really
look like if
strange
I
things
didn't
that
get
make
married.
my kind of jealousy
And
is
actually,
triggered
it's
by
difficult, isn't it? And
not
I saw
necessarily
online this
wanting what
quote
somebody
that
else
what other
has, but
people
feeling that they've had it
think about you
easier
is
than
none of your
me.
business. And on one hand, I
So for
totally agree with that,
example,
but then on the other hand, it's so difficult to
like if I hear
internalize, and
about
I just
a
feel like
friend kind of
modern
like
society just is hardwired, sets us up to
getting into
fail,
law
really, because
easily,
everything seems
sometimes that
to be
makes me
kind
a
of
bit
framed as a
jealous because
competition now, and who's
I
got
didn't have
more
any
friends
financial
and
support from my
who's
parents,
having
for
a
example, when I
more
was
fun
kind of doing
time, and
the postgraduate studies course. So I had a particular friend who kind of would just openly say that, oh, like my grades aren't that great, but I'm getting in on my connections, and that would just really like I didn't want, like I couldn't be happy for her. I was just inwardly really jealous. But yeah, like I've said, it's something I'd like to work on about myself, and I feel like just because I've had a hard time in something, that doesn't mean obviously I don't want my friends to have also had a hard time. So yes, maybe that is a cause for self-reflection. I hope you've enjoyed my midnight ramblings on life, the universe, and everything in between.